Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm combining the tower blocks with the geometric beads. These are the geometric beads. They are from Amazon. I will link them down below. You get 300 in a pack. And for this video I only ended up using about half a bag. And I'm using 2 packs of tower blocks for this DIY and some Dollar Tree super glue wood glue. You can use whichever glue that you like. I made 10 of these squares. So 5 are going around in one direction and then the other 5 are going in the other directions, as you've seen on the 2 that I just showed you there. So I am just gluing 8 blocks together and then I'm gluing the geometric bead in the middle, and sometimes they don't fit or you have to turn them around because they're not all made the same, just like the tower blocks, or just get a new bead. And then I'm gluing a tower block on each of the inside tower blocks on the bottom there. And then now I'm doing the same thing but the opposite way around. Later on in the video you'll see what this would look like if you do all of them in the same direction. And you can make your frame, because it's going to be a frame, whichever size you like. I just wanted to do this size and make a square. So here are my 12 pieces, and then you have to place them alternatively so that you can see that the tower blocks join up on each square. And then I'm just going to glue them together. And always remember to wipe away any excess glue with a wet paper towel. And sometimes, because the blocks are not all the same size, you might have to switch the squares around to make sure that the sides of the squares are going to be touching enough to make sure it will all glue together, if that makes sense. Also, you can reinforce it on the back with some popsicle sticks. Later on I used staples because I made a big project, but you could also use popsicle sticks on that. And then I stained it with the early American wood stain. Here are some pieces of foam board, and they are 8.5 inches each. I placed one piece on the back where I want it to go, and then I traced around the hole with a pencil, and now I am just marking it off, and then I mark it a tiny bit wider than what the hole is, and then I'm just using an X-Acto knife to cut it out. And I don't cut it out as a square because I need one side open when I attach this to the back. This is going to look like this. And then I'm going to glue these 2 pieces together. I was rubbing off my pencil mark to see how wide it was. And then I just glued them together with hot glue after I took these wee edge bits off. I was just checking it there. And then I'm just going to paint the bits that you will see black. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I thought it would be better. I'm just using black acrylic paint, nothing special. So now I'm going to hot glue it to the back. And I actually didn't glue it properly. I glued it too far down, so the bottom piece wasn't like almost flush with the top of the tower box. And you'll see when I put my picture in that it drops down too much. So just be aware of that when you do it. And I'm just going to add a sawtooth hanger. And I have this Alchemy scrapbook paper pad, and I will link it down below. I got it from Amazon. I picked the pages that I want to use, and then I trim them down, well, measure that one and then trim it down with a paper cutter. And then this picture of the sun, I just cut that out and then I trimmed it down with a paper cutter so that it would be nice straight edge. Just choosing which part of the paper I want to use just by putting the sun on it and then looking to see, because all over that paper looks different, so I'm just picking which bit that I like the best. And then I measured the gap in the back of the frame, and then I made it just a tiny bit smaller than that. And you could put a photo in here if you have a photo that size, or I made this without thinking what am I going to put in it. So I had to hunt through all my stuff to decide on something, but I really love how this turned out. I'm glad I didn't glue the sun on before I put this in, since I glued it the bottom too far down. So I just used a glue stick to glue it in place, and then I glued the sun on because I wanted the sun to be right in the middle. And this is how it turned out, and I really love this one. You need 2 boxes of tower blocks for this DIY and some wood glue. So I made the same pattern again, but this time I put geometric beads on the outside instead of tower blocks. So I just take 4 blocks and then I glue them like this with a space in the middle for the geometric bead, and then I glued another tower block on each of the top of them, and then now I am gluing the geometric beads. And you want to have the holes, you don't want to have the holes showing on the sides, except for on the very top. This is going to be a planter, so I'll show you after I make these. On the very top you need to have 1 hole on either side to put a bead on, but you don't want to have any other holes showing on the sides. The bottom doesn't matter. And I did these in opposite direction as well. And just squeeze the tower blocks around the bead to make sure they're in the right place, and then you just wipe away any excess glue with a wet paper towel. I don't know if this would work with the round beads. I haven't tried that. Maybe in not the next video, but the next again tower block video, maybe I will try using the round beads and see how it works out. I'm just going to swap those 2 around so that they are the right place, and you see there's a hole on the top of each of them and holes on the bottom. So I'm just going to glue them together, and I wanted the tower blocks to match up like that. And now I'm just putting a bead on each of these holes, and then I'm putting an extra tower block over the joins to reinforce it. Could use a popsicle stick for this if you wanted. And now I made 3 of these already, need 4 of these, and these are 9 blocks by 3 blocks. And 3 are going to be the sides and 1 is going to be the base. You can do the whole thing, the whole sides with the beads and stuff if you want to, but I didn't want to. And then I'm going to put 3 extra blocks on one side of this, and that's for the base. Yeah, I didn't want to use all those beads to show you guys the pattern because I'm going to be making so many projects with them. But if you want to do every side the same, then you can do that. I'm just gluing the sides on and reinforcing it with a tower block, just using a paint bottle to prop the side up. So I'm just going to do an extra tower block on each side in the corners. And then I leave this to dry. So now that that's all dry, I'm going to glue the front on. And it was a tight squeeze, so I know it won't come off. I just slid it on because the pieces were already dry. And just clean up any glue, and then I added on a few more tower blocks to make it stronger. Then I stained it with the Jacobean wood stain, and this is how it turned out. I really wanted to see what those geometric beads looked like with the Jacobean stain, and I really like it. This next project is a big one, and you need 8 boxes of tower blocks because you need like, I think, 504 tower blocks for it. So here I am, I'm going to make that same pattern that I did in the start of the video. I'm gluing 8 blocks in pairs, and then I'm going to glue them together in a square. And then gluing the geometric bead in the middle. And then another block on top of each of those middle blocks. So I'm just doing this one way for this whole project. You could do opposite if you want to. And I made 42 of these. If you wanted to do with the 2 different directions, I would do 21 of each. And I'm just going to glue them together. This is going to be the top and the bottom, so I'm going to glue together 6 and then another 6. And if you're not filming this, you can do this on the floor and have lots of space, but I had to film it for you guys and my craft room is tiny, so I have to glue it in sections. And now I'm going to glue the rest in 5s, and I'm going to do 6 of those because you need 15 for each side. Now this is going to be a mirror, so if your mirror is not the one that I'm going to use, then you just have to measure and see how many blocks that you need. So here is me gluing on some of the sides. And that's the opposite end. And then I'm going to glue the middle pieces in. And if you are not filming and you have space, then it'll be a lot easier for you guys to do. You can just glue it all at one time. So that bit didn't want to glue, so I'm just stapling it together with the staple gun. So here I have some foam board from Dollar Tree, and I'm just measuring it, and I'm going to cut it with an X-Acto knife. I couldn't find my box cutter. So I wanted this, I show you, I wanted it to come to, on either side, the middle of the blocks. Well, the middle of the squares. So that's where I measured it to. I know you can't see very well. So I'd cut out 3 pieces for this. One is smaller, I just put that one in the middle. Okay, so here are my 3 pieces. I bought this mirror from Walmart. It was $7. I think they have black too. I took a box cutter and cut all the backing around the edges. And then I also used it to cut through the hot glue that's on the back of it. You can use a heat gun to heat it up a wee bit, and then I used a scraper, like a Cricut scraper tool, to scrape it off and peel off the hot glue. It was a bit, took a wee while to get the mirror out. The first one I broke, so be careful with this. Now I'm gluing the foam board to the back of the mirror with some Fix-All from Dollar Tree and some hot glue. And now I've placed it on top of the back of the frame, and now I'm just going to use the staple gun to staple the foam board to the frame. And the mirror didn't reach each side of the frame, so I'm just filling in the gaps with some tower blocks, and I glued them all the way around the inside of the frame, and I did have to cut down a couple to make them fit, but I'm not showing you on this. I did that off camera. Now I'm just going to staple where all the squares join together to make it stronger. You could use some glue and popsicle sticks for this if you wanted to as well. I know you can't see the whole mirror in these couple of clips, so I'm going to show you what it's looking like in this clip. If you wanted to, you could leave it like this, or you could stain all the pieces before you glue it together, or paint them, whichever you're going to do. And now I'm just taping off the mirror with some masking tape. And then I have some plaster Waverly chalk paint, and I watered it down because I wanted this to be a whitewash. So I'm just slapping that paint on. I ended up doing 2 coats. The next coat I made a bit thicker. I might go back and just paint the whole thing white. I actually made this DIY first, and then now that I've seen the early American stain on it, I might actually just redo the whole mirror. Where this is going to go in my house, we're painting right now, so I just have to show you my craft room. Ignore the mess in the background and Toby deciding to make his bed while the mirror is on it. I didn't want to hang it on the wall and put holes in the wall, so I just sat it on top of the bed. But I do love how this one turned out. Let me know which colour of stain or paint that you like the best, which DIY did you like the best. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!